Well, I thought it was a good morning, good practice, and everybody was there on time. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of effort out there. Ran to the ball well, ran to catch the ball. Runners looked good. Our toughness, we were tough. Thought we stayed off the ground for the most part well. Got to get better at a few things, snap counts and keying the ball, which happens a lot early in camp, but we will. Those are some things we've got to work on, but we will. And we'll do a better job of coaching that as well. Our transition on and off the field was good, I thought. We had a very good practice. I thought our secondary did a nice job. I like our secondary. I thought they did a nice job out there getting turnovers. And we stayed up and stayed off the ground well. There were some very positive things. I'll let you ask questions and we'll talk about it.
Coach, any wide receiver catch your attention today?
Yeah, there were several of them. Antonio Jordan made some really good catches. I mean, he's hard to cover because he's so tall and he can run. You look at him, you're going, he's a big target that we hope you can run and all that. We knew he could run. He showed that today. He was good in one-on-ones as well when they were playing man coverage on him. But he showed out. We've got some guys that can run. Andy Jean did a nice job there, and Jalen Brown can run as well. So we're a little rusty throwing and catching, so that's why you practice.
Jim, we didn't talk about much in the spring. I mean, I don't know how you did later on, but early on, Grayson Wilson was throwing the ball really well out there. Did you notice that too?
Yeah, he got most of the 3 reps today, and we two-spotted most of the practice in the team settings. And I thought that he did a nice job, and he's one that's really improved. And as you stated, I agree with you.
You mentioned a lot of turnovers from the secondary. Remember any names, numbers, guys who got them?
I think it was just a lot of different guys. I know Julian Neal had a pick, and I don't know. There was, 3 or 4 of them. It was good to see if, we need to get those. I think our secondary it's one day, but I've also seen them through the summer. I think our secondary is much improved, and but no, I can't right off the top. Kyle might have that, but right off the top, I think it was kind of share the wealth a little bit. I know Caleb Wooden had a pick as well.
Taylor was wearing a little camera on his helmet, which I think might be new.
Yeah.
Is that for, what's it for?
It's for video, for where you can see for a VR machine. So they're able to use that, and it's about a 30-minute, maybe 45-minute learning where it's virtual, where they can see the field off of practice tape and off of game tape.
You recall the total time of practice, maybe?
What do you think? 2:10, maybe after the specialist walk through and the walkthrough, so maybe 2.5 hours, I'd say.
Yeah, and then finally, the heat has been brutal leading up almost to today. What did today feel like?
Well, it felt like it was early, I don't know how you guys are, but if you got to be somewhere by 5:15, you feel like you need to wake up at 2 a.m. and you set 19,201 alarms, You have your wife set her alarm, which didn't go too good, Saturday. What's the day, Friday? Tomorrow, Jamie and I will be married 39 years, and so you guys that haven't been married that long, you still get chewed out if you ask wrong questions. And we got lucky this morning. I just did not want to go in the afternoon and have slow recovery time whenever we're going to go 5 in a row, days straight. And we are doing some 2-spot things. I don't know how we find out who we really have. unless we do that. It's no more reps on guys. It's opportunities for guys to get reps. It's especially the 3s and 4s. And as we learned a long time ago, everybody, when they get to college, they're a 3 or a 4 or a 5. And eventually they'll work their way up. I don't know how to do it any better than giving them the reps to actually see them do it. But we did catch a break this morning, and that's why we're doing it. We'll have 2 full weeks when school starts to practice in the afternoon, so I think we'll acclimate to the climate well. But that's why we're going in the mornings.
Selman had a nice pass breakup during fastball that we got to watch and
Yeah.
worked with the starters. I mean, have you seen him maybe take another step forward since the spring? I mean, what's left for his development?
I have. I think there's twofold there. I think number one, he's got a different body. You know, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's in the best shape of his life, and you know, there's power in that, like I've talked about before. All those things build confidence. So he's always had athletic ability. Obviously, he was a highly rated guy out of high school. But now he's able to use it because he's got a body that can do it, and he's in shape. Obviously, he knows the defense much better than he did a year ago. So he's in a battle over there, and that's a good thing. But, you know, you look at Davila made some plays today, and certainly Julian Neal did, and I like where Jaheim Singletary is, you know. So Kenai Walker is a good player, and so I like where we're at that spot. I know you asked about Selman specifically, but I like where we're at with that corner.
You harped on turnovers a lot during SEC Media Day,
Yeah.
just, you know, less on offense, more on defense. Is there anything you're doing in fall camp, like any new drills or something to kind of make sure that happens this coming fall?
Every day in camp and in the fall will be the first coming right out of stretch is going to be turnover circuit. You know, before we were doing it all kind of together with the stumble bomb and the stiff arm and a double ball. Now we're changing it up a little bit where each coach, we went over film, we understand why we had the turnover, we understand why we didn't get the turnovers, and each coach each day is working on that to prove getting the ball back to the offense and keeping it offensively. So the very first thing we do out of stretch is ball security. We need to emphasize it. I don't know how to do it any more than do it the first thing of practice.
Mike Washington was with the ones out of the running back spot. I mean, is that something that you foresee him being with the ones for a little bit of time, and what'd you like from him today?
Well, I just saw the same guy I saw in the spring. You know, Mike last night was earned the, you know, everything they do in the summer is competition. And when they win, they get points. You know, when they're going against somebody, it's not the same guy every day. It's just whomever we decide, the strength staff decides who's the best competition for them. And Mike had the most points, most wins this summer on the football team. And he wasn't going against me. You know, he was going against guys that can run as well. And so we expect a lot out of him because we saw a lot of good things out of him in the spring. So he's earned the right to be where he's at on the depth chart.
You mentioned that there were just a few things you got to get better at, but that'll come. It's early in camp. But this time of camp, when it is so new, what are kind of the main things that you do want to get accomplished, knowing that it's not going to be a fully polished thing yet?
Well, I just want to, you know, first thing, you can't do anything if you don't have toughness and effort. You know, we've got that on the team. We have to be in shape. We also have that. So now you're, instead of coaching all that kind of stuff and worried about are we in shape, are we this, are we that, do we do what we're asked to do, now you start honing in on the stuff that you can beat people with, or if we're doing it wrong, we get beat. And today, really the only thing today was we didn't handle snap count well offensively or defensively. And it wasn't like a fest of mistakes, but 1, 2, or 3 will get you beat. And so, and that will help you win close games as well, you know. You don't jump off sides either side of the ball. You go score 7, or you jump off on defense. They score 7 instead of 3. Now you're talking about a one-score game, which almost every game is, and almost in SEC. So that's really it. I thought we handled the football, snapping at those, and obviously the other thing is we got to be better with the football. And some of those were tipped and all that kind of stuff, but there's still turnovers. We've got to be better there, and I'm not one bit worried about it. We'll get better about that tomorrow.
Coach, going back to the the VR headsets you mentioned earlier, is that to kind of make sure Taylon's eyes are in the right place, or is it more to help the younger guys behind him?
No, it's all for 1 through however deep we are, 5, I guess. But Talon went somewhere and saw it and used, saw it being used, and came back and asked, could we get it, and so I went and if it's going to help us win, yes, but I'm not to say so. And the man, he's sitting right there, and he okayed it a long time ago. Wasn't very much money, but as way before anything happening. So, but it's not that expensive, and we think. Bobby thinks, Talon thinks, Grayson thinks that it's going to be a major help for them. And, of course, the people selling it think it is as well. But I haven't, I played quarterback in 7th grade. I haven't put it on yet, but went from right guard 6th grade to 7th grade QB, baby. And I haven't put it on, but I might.
Kobe Branham, how good was it to see him back out there on the practice field? And
Great. Great. He did everything, every indie, every team. Great. It's fun, to have competition, like legit competition, man. It's fun to see it, and that's what we have. Getting Kobe back certainly does help that as well.
What about him specifically kind of makes him a strong candidate to be at that right guard spot?
He's big. He's got great balance. I mean, he really does. He has great balance. I'm going to say it, and it's not because he loves the Hogs. He loves being here. He was a highly recruited guy as well, but he's big, he's physical, he's got good feet, and he loves to play. And he has all the tools, and you put that together in a guy that really loves where he's at and loves the game. It's going to be pretty good, and obviously we wish we had him in spring. We don't, so now we've got to amp up a little bit on him to find out exactly where he's at. But we have 25, 24 now practices to figure it out. But he's a good player, big, physical guy.
About Scott Skarzik in the kicking game, just where do you feel like he's developed the most since getting to college, and how do you feel like he needs to continue developing as the season progresses?
I think probably his confidence. I don't know if you remember when you were going to college, but it's kind of scary, and especially if you're going on a major SEC team, kind of scary. But I think his confidence always, obviously we believed in him out of high school. That's one position that we believe that we can come in as a freshman and do it. Obviously we had great luck with Cam Little. Now he's special. But at the same time, I think his confidence has grown, and he's very accurate. We didn't have field goal per se today, but he said he was 6 for 6 on his field goals in the stadium. We're trying to bring them over here so they'll get used to winning games over here. But he's really talented, and he can kick the ball a country mile, so. And he's shown that in the spring. I think he kicked a 59-yarder. I think we had to have it offensively. We had to have it for 2-minute drill, and he kicked a 59-yarder in practice to make it under pressure. So I think it's going to be just fine.
How are you planning on putting him under pressure? You talked about that in the stadium.
Well, we're going to have, some people in there. I always believe people, you go in there and it's empty. I don't know if you have this much pressure if you had 70,000, or 80,000. So we have to do that. We're going to have certain times during practice that he has no idea that we're going to field goal, and it might be move the ball period, and we're 2nd and 10, and we're going field goal. Just we've got to put him in situations where he doesn't necessarily know on this piece of paper it's field goal time. We have to do that with him. And, obviously to build confidence, you probably need to kick in that area where good percentage he's going to make it. You build that confidence and then move it back as camp goes.
You've talked about this a little bit, but you guys used to not be able to even look at the players in the summer.
I know.
When did all that change, and what are you allowed to do now, and how has that helped you kind of blend summer workouts and into fall camp?
Trey, I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of change came in COVID. So COVID ended up where you could have some jog throughs back then, and I can't remember during that season. Of course, it was my first year here. I can't remember the teams not being ready. Early in the year, we played Georgia, and then Mississippi State, and then I think it was maybe Auburn and Ole Miss. And I thought that our team with new staff and new players, so I think that's when it really started, and everybody started saying, hey, we're not getting every rule's about safety. It just is, and it should be. But I think we found out we're not getting these kids hurt by what we're able to do. Now, right now we have them 8 hours in the summer. Which is more than we used to have, maybe going on 3 years maybe now, where you can legally meet, you can walk through legally, and of that 8, you get 2. And so we split that up in 2 separate days, but I think it's all about, your understanding the offense and understanding some technique work before we ever get out there today. And it's really helped us. And I believe not only that you can do it, Trey, without getting hurt, I believe that it helps you with injuries during the season because they're not on the ground. They're not going the wrong way. They're not understanding the technique it takes to survive and do it the right way. So I think all those rules, and of course now, we don't tackle as much as we're not allowed to. We start with spiders, all that. I think we're doing a good job in NCAA of protecting our guys with the rules. Everybody's got to do the same thing, but you asked specifically about the summer, and that's the answer.
Are y'all able to have a ball?
Yeah.
Okay. With the offensive line, we saw them come out during fastball. I'm wondering if there was any shifting around throughout practice, experimentation and whatnot.
Trey, the only shifting that we did, now part of that was me. I said we're 2-spot, and I do not want to bring someone from the 3 and 4 field to the 1 and 2 field. Now, if you have a break, and you could do that without slowing the practice down. I just did not want to do that today. So the only guys that really went in there offensive line-wise was Kobe and Shaq. So, Blackstock and E. Harris were the 2 guys that went with the ones, and then we kind of rotated those guys. Right now we're kind of looking for Kobe and Shaq to play together if they can. They were playing well together before the injury, so we're looking at that combination first with those 2 guys. I didn't want to move Shaq in there with Blackstock. I wanted those 2 guys up. They're meshing pretty good. I wanted to do that, and that was really the only movement that we did on the O-line today.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about Andy Jean and Jalen Brown a little bit, but the other guys that kind of didn't get to play in the spring, I wanted to get your overall impressions of those guys.
That didn't get to play in the spring. I think it would be Andy Jean and Jalen Brown and Antonio Jordan. Those would probably be. Grant Carnes but those would probably be the four that didn't get to play in the spring, and I think they've got the offense down pretty good. Andy Jean ran a really good post route today, and he's fast, and I just really like the new additions as well as the guys we have. I really like those guys, and they'll have some speed. But I think those are probably the guys. I don't think we have a tight end that wasn't here in the spring, if I remember. All right, guys. Thank you.